What is a song without the beat? Think of the instrumentals that make you move, make you smile, make you feel. No lyrics needed. Sure, a song might have vocals by Jay-Z or Lil Uzi or Travis Scott, but the producer's essence is embedded in the track. But with so much music available and so much sonic clutter, how does a producer create a signature sound? How do you make a hit without sacrificing originality? The prolific beat makers here today have scored the soundtrack to our lives. They've crafted the biggest records for music's premier artists, and they're here today to share the game behind their Grammy-winning, radio-dominating skill set. Get ready to learn how to make it big and still stay true. This is Complex Conversations, how to make a modern-day rap hit, with your host, Speedy Mormon.
Thank you everyone for coming out to our panel. It's called How to Make a Modern Day Rap Hit, and I'm joined by Hitmaka, Tainy, Lil CC, Zaytoven, and Murda Beatz. Hey, we're also nice and tight, so we're gonna get real friendly up here. I guess it's only right that we'll start this way.
Yes, sir.
How did you first get into producing and making music?
I mean, a lot of people don't know that, like, when I came out as Young Berg, like, I was always writing and producing my own records. I learned a lot, like, being Iceberg before I was Young Berg, because I was signed a DMX record label off Def Jam when I was 15 years old, from the likes of Kanye West, Bugs, No ID. They produced and, like, did my whole demo, and that, like, started a whole bidding war between Def Jam, like, in a whole Def Jam building. Like, Jay-Z wanted to sign me, Murder Inc. was rocking with me, Rockefeller was rocking with me, and I finally settled with DMX Bloodline. So I learned a lot from those producers, and I just kind of like transitioned from there and just took it to the next level. And as Young Berg, I wrote and produced every song, whether it be The Business, Sexy Lady, Sexy Can I with me and Ray J, which is probably the biggest song I ever did. That song sold like 10 million records. So
Complex.
yeah, I mean, I was just involved in the music from the jump. A lot of people didn't really know that. Like, that's just been like my biggest thing.
For sure. Tainy, how about you? How'd you get into producing?
Yeah, so I grew up in Puerto Rico, so reggaeton was like the biggest thing over there. And I was blessed to like have a childhood friend who was already like producing, called Nelly. And he's the one that really got me like my foot into the music industry, and I signed with the biggest producers over there called Looney Tunes. I was like 14, about to be like 15 years old. So thank God I started like at an early age, so I can like learn and do my mistakes and everything, and like learn from the best. And now I get to this point here right now.
To be on stage with us and all of these other good producers. Lil CC, how about you? How did you first start producing?
Okay, so where I'm from LA, Inglewood, California. So, you know, in high school, y'all heard of Vine, right? Like, so, you know, me and my friends, my homies would teach me how to make beats basically, but they would be like literally like 4 or 5 sounds, like not even anything too serious. And that's just how I learned. And then like 2 years ago, I was hanging out with my homie and my other homie Bongo, my other homie LJ. These are all producers. And they were like, you know, you should take it serious if you know how to use it. So yeah, I started taking it serious, playing with it more.
Word. Zaytoven, how about you?
How I started producing? Man, well, I always been a church musician. I've been in church all my life, so that's what even got me involved in even doing music. You know, growing up playing the drums, went from playing the drums to playing the organ. And then, you know, you can start buying keyboards where you can make, you know, beats and drums on the keyboard. I started doing that, you know, started loving to do that. Then I thought I could rap when I was, you know, in high school. So I'd make some beats and I started rapping on it, put my little brother, put, you know, kids from the neighborhood. You know, we was on like a karaoke machine. Like my label, I felt like I had a label called Low Budget Records. You know what I mean? And we was rapping, I make the beats, I go to the studio, make the beats, put it on tape, go rap on them on the karaoke machine. But I never thought about being a producer. I just did it because I love to do it, because, you know, it was fun to do as a hobby, you know. So it wasn't till So Icy when I started taking it like, hold on, this might be a real deal career. So, you know, I started, you know, I had my first big song in 2004, and I just started, you know, kind of taking it serious after that.
For sure, we'll get back to that in a second. Murda Beatz, how about you? How did you first get into producing?
So I started playing drums like when I was like 4 years old. I was like banging on the drums. And RP my pops, but he always wanted me to play guitar. And I was like, I don't want to play guitar. He really wanted me to though, but I was like, nah. And I was like left-handed too, so like like the whole world is like a right-handed world, so everything is backwards to me. So I'm like looking at guitars and it's backwards and stuff. So I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna play drums. So I just played drums till I was like 14, and then my boy showed me how to crack Fruity Loops, and then when he showed me that, then I just started making beats.
For sure. Tainy, this question is for you. How long did it take you after you started making beats to make your first good beat?
Yeah, man. I had a lot of like crazy like ideas that I know weren't working for a while. So, you know, like it helped a lot to be in that studio and have like so many like producers that have been in the game for a while. So I could just sit down and just like vacuum everything, like what they're doing, how they do this, and I'll try to like recreate everything. So it took a while, and then, you know, making relationships with the artists so they can like trust you and say, okay, they'll give you a chance to do a beat. But I think probably like, yeah, for a couple months to a year till I have like a really good song that I could like listen on the cars, right, passing around the studio or like my school. I was still in school when I was working, so that really like felt amazing, like to hear my beat on some of those artists that I grew up listening to. So yeah, I think it took a while, but it was worth the wait.
Hitmaka, do you ever look back at some of your old beats and be like, man, that shit's kind of trash? Does that ever happen to you?
I don't know. It depends on who I did it with. Like, for real.
But even if, like, before it was a record, just like beats that you've made maybe that never got a placement.
Nah, because I don't really look at it like that. A lot of songs that I personally think aren't my best work or whatever that I might do with somebody is probably more than likely become a hit. Like, I really don't know how to pick and choose. Like, I know what really turns me on, pause, like just musically, but at the same token, like sometimes it could be something that the culture just wants from you at that particular moment that you might not see for yourself. And I work with an array of different people. I've worked with Zaytoven, I've worked with Murda, CC, like how she said, like CC was like Lil Sis, and I'm like, yo, you should make beats. And we was just in the studio, and now we here on ComplexCon, so it is what it is.
For sure. Zaytoven, I'm curious as to you as well. You've been making music for so long. How long did it take you to finally make a beat that you were like, wow, this is actually good?
Man, I feel like most of the beats I was making was, you know, super hard. And then it take an artist to tell you like, man, what I'm supposed to do with that beat? Like, that ain't hard, you know what I mean? So it took a while for me to really just, you know, find my sound, because I'm a musician. So every time I start making beats, I start playing like pretty sounding music on it. So the rapper like, man, what I'm supposed to do to this? It sound like ice cream music, like, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, it wasn't until I did So Icy that made me feel like, okay, I did something right, you know? And that's just me making beats in 5 minutes, because I didn't know how to take a long time and try to make something special. I was just making beats just to be making them. So I think, you know, by So Icy, that's when I felt like, okay, I did something good. Now I know what I'm doing.
Everyone draws inspiration from somewhere else. Lil CC, I'm curious, where do you find inspiration to make music?
To make music? To be honest, I listen to like classical music before I make a beat, or I like, you know, really listen to old school music, what I like to hear. I like listening to classical music because it's mainly all keys. And like, I don't know, it just helps me pick up on keys more. I grew up kind of like, I'm more familiar with the drums than the piano, so I feel like classical music kind of helps me like open my brain up a little more.
For sure. By the way, guys, if you hear that ruffling noise, there's a lot of diamond chains up here. Talk about hip hop, you know what I'm saying? So just bear with us. I'm curious though, and this is a question for all you guys. We'll start with you, Murda. We specially curated all of the songs that you guys walked out to, and if you can, just kind of walk us through how these songs came together. So Murda Beatz, your song was Butterfly.
You want me to walk through everyone's songs or just mine?
No, just your own. And then Zaytoven will do his, and then we'll see.
All right, so Butterfly Effect, I made that beat, I don't know where did I make that beat? I think in my mom's basement a couple years ago. And yeah, I sent that beat to Nicki Minaj. She did a song to it. Then I sent it to Quavo. He did a song to it. And then I sent it to Travis. So. Yeah.
And what happened to the first two? Did the song ever came out? Or?
The Quavo one, I actually took the acapella and made Baller Alert with 2 Chainz and Drake. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Okay. And how about
the Nicki one? I don't know.
You don't even know. Okay. Zaytoven.
Mine was similar. Versace was a beat that I had out like 2 years before Migos even used it. And when I first met Migos, I felt like, oh, they some stars. So I brought them to my house and started doing music with them. We did like 2 songs right there, but then I gave them some beats. And when I gave them the beat, it was a beat that Soulja Boy had used for Oh My God Part 2. Plies had used it on the mixtape. It was just a beat that had been circulating for a while. But them songs didn't really do that much, so, like Migos ain't never heard it before, so they still did Versace on it, you know what I mean? So, so it's like, oh, they made a hit to it, and then when Drake jumped on it, it's like, oh, that's they beat. That ain't nobody else beat. That ain't Soulja Boy beat. That, you know what I mean? It's they beat. They made a hit to it. So, and I think a lot of hits come like that. That's how you know the beat is something special. Like Murda said, 3 big stars already used that beat. They want to use that same beat, so you know it's something special about the beat.
Sure. Lil CC, how about you? Yours is Money in the Grave.
How did it come about? Okay, so, like I told you, like the past 2 years, I've really been taking producing serious. So 2 years ago, Wise took it serious. The first person and really the only artist I reached out to was Drake. I never met him, never spoke to him. I don't know why he been following me for the past 6 years. I don't know why, but
I'm sure we all can figure it out. We all know why.
Yeah, I've never spoken to him, so let me just reach out, send him some beats. And then he was for it. He was like, all right, dope, send me some. Nothing happened. So then fast forward to this past Grammys. I ran into him. He was at the event. I wasn't even gonna go to this event. I'm not even the type to go out. I'm not really like that. So he come up to me. He was like, yo, you still make beats? I was like, yeah, but I was modeling. So I was like, yeah, I kind of do both. I've been balancing out, learning. He was like, all right, send me some. I sent him 10 pack. And then, a couple days later, he sent back Money in the Grave. But I didn't think it was gonna come out. I thought he was just being nice or whatever, giving me inspiration. And then it came out a couple months later, so yeah.
Was that the first time you had ever met him in person?
Yeah, that's the first time I ever met Drake.
Wow, shout out to Instagram for him following you 6 years ago for the reason we all know.
That's how it goes.
Tainy, how about you?
Yeah, mine was I Like It. So I Like It was kind of like a puzzle. I was here in another session in LA, and I happened to run into an A&R friend of mine, and Craig Common, and I met him for the first time, and he's telling him all the things that I've done, and he said, well, can you probably help us with this track we have? And I'm like, good, I don't even know what it is, but I go to the studio a couple hours later, and he has this sample. It's the I Like It sample. I don't remember who's the original artist, but that's all they had. They had this idea that they wanted to do something, it had I Like It like that on the hook, but it didn't really have a hook either. So now he had to bring that into the modern world. So they had me going on the drums and the bass and just make it more not so predictable. And also it has 3 artists in it, so you had to make it a couple of differences between the tracks, because it would probably get boring. It's super long. But I don't know, man. It just it took me to 5 in the morning to finish something cool. And he started to like it, and then we just bumped back and forth, changing stuff and adding stuff. And man, when I heard it was getting to that point, I knew that we had a hit right there.
Heard. Hitmaka, how about you?
Meek Mill Dangerous is kind of a crazy story, because I super far back, probably 2.5 years ago, I became vice president of Atlantic Records. And I never told nobody that I was. I didn't do no press release or nothing like that. Cause I'm yo, these niggas gonna hate on me on some Young Berg shit. Let me go ahead and get my weight up. So I had a few #1 records, and I've been working on a lot of good stuff. So from there, I just fell back, and Jeremiah changed my life. So and I really want to tell my whole story for anybody out there that's really out there that's listening. When I did Love and Hip Hop and shit, it went left for me and it went bad, which was created by Mona on some Cruella DeVille type shit or whatever. She was Berg is my Stevie J of Love and Hip Hop, and I really didn't know these people. And I'm yo, I wanted people to understand that I was a creative person. So from there, I took it. I had #1 records. Then Jeremiah was like the first person that took me under his wing. He took me on tour with him. He took me everywhere when people didn't want to really be around me. Like you thought I had Ebola like at that point. Like, you know, like I had hits. I like had other things that people were in comparison with, whether it was cars, jewelry, or anything, but nobody wanted to be around me. So from there, I became VP Atlantic. I got my #1 records, and Jeremiah comes to the studio one day, and like he has this little like car that's like a boat, like it's like a 2-seater, but it's like looks like a little boat or something like that, like a weird little car. He pulled up to the studio on me, and I was like, "Yo, you gotta do this demo right now that we just did in the studio, me and Krishan." He like, "Nah, I just pulled up on you. I ain't really trying to do no records right now. I'm about to get on a flight in like 10 minutes." And I'm like, "Bro, go in the booth." He went in the booth. After that, P&B Rock showed up to the studio. He went in the booth and did the same demo. Like I played Krishan's version. I didn't play Jeremiah. I was just like, this song could hit Jeremiah, might not like it, so let me go ahead and play it for P&B. He ended up doing the record. From there, Meek got it, and it became dangerous.
Word. Murda Beatz, can you tell me about your first placement, the first beat that you feel put you on the map?
So the first beat that put me on the map was probably Pipe It Up. That was in Atlanta. I like pulled up on the Migos, probably like 5-6 years ago. I pulled up on the Migos. I was like playing through beats. And this is like the first time I ain't see the Migos drinking lean. This is like a long time ago. They were like sipping Hennessy. I'm like, "Oh, y'all drinking Hennessy? Let's go." I was like pour up a cup, sipping Hennessy. I'm going through beats. And then I went over the Pipe It Up beat. Quill was like, "Nah, go back to that beat." I'm like, "All right." I went back to the beat. And then he just started going, "Pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up." I'm like, "Yo, go in the booth and cut that shit." He went in the booth, cut it, and then like that was it.
You were out of here after that. Zaytoven, what was your first placement?
I can't really say, like, my first big song was So Icy, but it wasn't really a placement because, you know, Gucci Mane was like, almost like my artist. We didn't have no deals or nothing. We just working at my mama's basement. Like, my first real placement probably was Papers with Usher. Because everything else was just homegrown stuff. It's something that me and the artists, we at my house and we putting together, like OJ and Gucci and, you know, those type of guys. So they weren't really placements, you know, just music we was putting together. So Papers might have been like my first real placement.
CC, you have one beat and it's a hit. Low-key, you must have the secret formula. You shooting 100% from the field. What does it take for you to make a hit? What does it take?
You know, it takes, like you said, a lot of inspiration, a lot of good people around you, good vibes, you know. I made that beat with my brother. I grew up with him. He's like my cousin, almost real close family friend, LJ Curry. And then one of his homies, Esoteric. And then, yeah, I kind of like, you know, did my little thing. And then they kind of like helped me with it. And then I would go back again. And then we just kind of, when we was all vibing too, and we was like, all right, it's done, you know? But that's like my only hit. I really was inspired by these guys growing up. So like, you know, yeah, listening to their sound kind of helped my sound.
For sure. Tainy, what was your first placement?
So first placement, it's this like big duo called Wisin and Yandel from Puerto Rico. They're like the biggest, and they really gave me my first like beat that people like outside of Puerto Rico could even like know who I was and what I was doing, and really like everything just like went off from there. The song was called Bam Bam. So that was like my first song that everybody was just coming over. I want to be like that, or I want to do the same thing, and it was kind of like going into that phase where everybody wants to do the same beat that you already did and trying to learn from that and everything. But other than that, I think it was the one that really like cemented me like on this right now, where I'm like working on everything that I wanted toward listening to all these guys and trying to go into this world that I was always listening to back in Puerto Rico, and trying to do like everything that I've always dreamed that I wanted like to be doing, and that I know I could do if I was just like given the chance. So it's been a crazy ride after that one.
Hitmaka, I feel like I know the answer because you make all the beats for your own stuff, but what was your first placement, be it for yourself or for someone else?
A lot of people don't know. My first placement as an artist or as a songwriter?
As a producer.
Evolution, that was her last album. I wrote and co-produced the record. It was a title track to her song. It's called Evolution. We did it here at Conway Studios. I was probably like 16, 15 years old. and like I'm still on the ad-libs. Like if y'all go back and listen to it, it's kind of crazy.
This question is for anybody. When people these days, or music purists, are upset that producers, maybe not all producers play instruments anymore, it's just electronic sounds. Zay, how about you? Because you do play instruments.
I almost feel like, people got the cheat code. Because I know I'm at the studio, I got keyboards set up, I got drum machines, I got all this equipment. Then somebody can pull up to the studio with just their laptop with nothing and just put a beat together. It's like, hold on, man, how you doing that? I got to do all this to get a beat and you just got that? So, it almost felt, but that's technology. So it just goes to show that. And I guess it makes the playing field even for whoever they want to produce, whoever want to get in the game. You just learn the technology and you can make the beats. I just felt like making music with your hands and with keyboards and stuff, it just felt more real to me, so.
Fellas, do you guys feel the same? Is it easy being a producer, Murda?
I don't think so. I feel like when you start out and you're working and stuff, like the flow is there, you know what I'm saying? But then like when you start to build yourself and get up there, it's like people expect a certain thing from you. And we're going through personal stuff, we're going through our own lives and stuff. You might not get inspiration for 6 months, you might get inspiration. It might take like a year, you might need to take a break for like 4 months to like make some crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like the ups and downs of life, but we just put that into the music,
Zaytoven, is it easy to be a producer in your opinion?
I think technology has made it where it's easy to get a hit. It's easy to get a song now, but to become a producer that lasts over that stand the test of time, I think that's hard to do. Cause it's so easy for somebody else to come in and do what you just did now. They made it. That's why like playing instruments has been something so special to me, cause it saves my spot in the game. That's what the reason I've been around so long is cause I have a sound, a signature sound, or something I can do that probably everybody else can't do. Nowadays, it can be somebody out in the crowd that just listen to this and go home and make a beat and run into the right person and like, oh, they got the hottest song out right now. But that don't mean you're gonna sustain. You're not gonna stay around for a long time.
Sure. Tiny, how about you? Is it difficult being a producer?
I think it's the same thing. Like when you start, you're just doing it like for fun and because you love music, you love to produce, and you feel amazing when you get like placements and artists that you always admire, like hopping in your songs. But I think it's like staying there after you get that first hit and like trying to get your sound that makes you like sound aside from everybody that's like doing, because you probably do a hit and everybody's doing the same kind of beat, and then okay, what are you gonna do next? So like trying to stay consistent and like give those like hits. You have a downtime where there's nothing, like Murda said, like there's gonna be a couple months where you don't have anything that you feel like is dope. Like you probably don't have any inspiration, you're like tired, whatever it is, but it happens. So you gotta like figure those things out, and with time and practice and learning, you get a hang of those things. So it gets difficult like every like career or job, but I know at the same time it comes easy because that's what we love to do and that's what we have fun doing.
For sure, it's your passion, but for everyone here it seems it's difficult, except for CC. It's just easy.
It's easy.
Hitmaka, can you walk me through your creative process? How does one begin?
So from the jump, like I always wanted to be a producer, not necessarily like how Murda or when Zay or CC, like, or my guy right here, like, yo, like, Tainy, it's too crazy. Like, I always was like the next Puff Daddy of this generation. That's what I felt like. I felt like my greatest gift was to be able to identify sounds or identify things, or actually, like I was talking about taste level, just be able to hear something, or it's a sketch idea that somebody might be able to come up with and say, yo, we need to change this, let's arrange this, let's do that, or let's flip this sample, let's do this, or whatever. And that's really been my whole like path on producing. I know how to put the right people together to do the things that I think personally are really dope, and somehow we're all able to get on one accord, and it all just bleeds through the music and just what we got going on right now. Like, the crazy thing is like when I set out on some like, I'm the next Puff Daddy, like I was on Jeremiah tour bus like, fuck y'all, nigga, I'm the next Puff Daddy. And niggas was like, yo, Berg, if you don't sit the fuck down, like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? And nobody would really believe in me. And like, I swear, like, I felt like I really was gonna flip all these 2000, early 90s, late 90s sounds. And like, now it's to the point to where right now, if you look at the charts, like I got out of the top 50 at urban radio, me and my crew, we did 9 of them. So it's almost 20% of urban radio right now. So it's bleeding through, and like I feel like when we look back, there's gonna be a moment, you know what I'm saying? Like how Pharrell had his moment, like where he used like the same drum kit for like 2 years, like when every song was just like that. Like you gonna look back and like, I just want to leave an imprint on that situation.
Murda, can you kind of walk me through your your creative process? Is it something that you're going in the studio every day? Are you not going to a studio for weeks at a time, working from the crib? What's it like?
So a couple years ago, I used to go to the studio all the time, cook up every day. I'd try to make like 100 beats a week, couple thousand beats a year. Like I was just going crazy. Like there'd be times I'd go to the studio and make like 30, 40 beats one night. Like I was just going crazy. But now it's like, I'm just trying to like find inspiration, do things differently. Like I might take a week off, might go do something, then cook up, you know what I'm saying? So just about like finding inspiration right now. And it's like, it's hard when everything sounds the same, you know what I'm saying? Because then like the fans and the artists get brainwashed into liking the exact same thing. So it's like you might make some crazy shit, you're like, yo, it's just different, shit different. It might show an artist, and they might be like, nah, they don't like it, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like a balance really, you know?
CC, how about you? How often are you working on beats in the crib versus maybe the studio?
Well, you know, I don't know if everybody knows I also model. So like, I'll do like modeling during the day, and then sometimes if I'm not too tired, I'll make like maybe 10, 15 beats at night. Or on the weekends, I'm mainly free. So I'll just be sitting at home, mainly at home, yeah. I don't really like to be in the studio like that.
Zaytoven, how about you?
It all depends.
Don't ask this nigga. This nigga
Yo, let me say something. Let me say
anybody.
something. When I first met the Migos, they were like, you gotta make beats like Zay. He was making beats in 10 minutes. And I was making beats in like an hour. I'm like, damn. So I like went home, started figuring out how to make beats in like 20 minutes and stuff. I had to go back like, yo, now I'm cooking up shit super fast. He be going in there.
Yeah.
10 minutes a beat, that's it?
I don't think I ever spent more than 10 minutes on any song I ever produced.
No cap.
No, I'm not trying to be funny. Like,
Wow, 10 minutes maximum. We've already been talking for 30. You could have made 3 minutes.
it's like the inspiration I get is from playing music. I'm a church musician. I play the organ at church every Sunday. So, you know, I'm constantly getting fed music. You know, I'm learning new chords and learning different progressions. So it's easy for me to come up with melodies. So when I sit down at the keyboard, you know, in the drum machine to make beats, I just do the first thing that comes to my mind. And I always was the guy that had the studio. So when my first, you know, song that got big is Gucci Man coming to my house to record in my studio. So you can't tell me that my beat ain't hard. So I'm gonna make the beat in 10 minutes and then you gotta rap on it. If you don't like my beat, you gotta get out my house. You know what I mean? So it's like that. And since I got accustomed to doing that, just to doing songs so fast, that's just how I create. So, and that's, you know, and that's the reason I feel like I got so many songs, because I like to create on the spot. I like to be spontaneous, you know. A lot of times if I'm working with Future, I'm gonna get something different than when I'm working with the Migos or when I'm working with Gucci or Usher, so.
So 10 minutes is the longest it's ever
10
taken
minutes.
you?
I just did a session with Mary J. Blige, and she did not want me to make a beat because I think she thought it was gonna take me a long time. I'm telling her it's gonna take me quicker to make the beat than you to go through my catalog and find a beat. And she was like, well, just make it. After we did it, she was like, you just blew my mind.
So 10 minutes for you. I'm curious as to all you guys, what's the longest it's ever taken you guys to make a beat? Maybe a couple months, maybe 10 minutes, how long?
Sometimes you get lost in the beat and you just be sitting there for like an hour or two when it's on loop, chilling, vibing with people, and you be like, oh man, fuck this shit, I'm going to the next beat. Boom. But I be trying to around like 15 to 30 minutes like a beat, like, you know what I'm saying? Don't want to spend too much time on it. Then you start geeking on some shit and then it won't ever be nothing, you know what I'm saying? Just be another beat on a hard drive. So you just try to just keep the inspiration going and keep it flowing, you know?
CC, how about you?
You know, when I first started making beats, I thought it would be cute to be in the studio making beats, paying for all these sessions or whatever. And then I realized I would finish like 2 beats in the whole session that I paid like a band for. So that's when I started making beats at home. So then, you know, when I started, you know, being more comfortable, knowing I can make it whenever I'm not on a time limit, I started to get faster and faster. It started off maybe like 4 or 5 hours. for like 2 beats, and now it's maybe like 20, 30 minutes around there.
So you three are sub 30 minutes so far. Tainy, how about you? Please tell me more than an hour, please.
Oh yeah. For me, it'll take a while. Sometimes I could do like a quick beat, but I just have to find that right sound, and I'll have like an idea of what I want. But sometimes since I don't play any instruments, like it'll take me a while. I just try stuff that I really like. When it feels good, I'll know it. Well, it could take a while. And after you have like the beat done, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but the artist also like starts like changing stuff and not being sure they want to add this or they want to change that. So that'll add it up to like a month or two of just like going back and forth. And sometimes the beat doesn't even sound how you had it at the beginning, but yeah, like sometimes I wish I could like play like Zaytoven and just like, cause I've seen people that really like know how to play like the keyboards or whatever, they do a beat like, bro, in like 5 minutes. And it's crazy because you already have like the progression and everything that you know how the song's gonna be structured. And for me, sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that, but it will probably take away my sound, how I create and how I come up with my stuff. So I'm glad with it. Sometimes I know it's gonna take a while, so I just like relax and just like go with the flow. But yeah, man, sometimes it could be quick, but sometimes it'll take a long time.
Make an average beat time.
It depends on who I work with, for one, like I said, but I mean, I think the first idea is always the right idea when it comes to creating or being creative with anything. If you overthink something, it becomes to be a job and not something that you actually really love or whatever. Like, I just like going to the studio. If we don't like it in the first 10 minutes, let's go to the next one. And we got the luxury of doing that, and I think that every creative has the luxury of doing that as well.
Zay, has there ever been a beat that maybe you weren't jumping up for joy about, but an artist was way more excited about than you were?
Every big song that I done had has been a beat that it's like, man, that's the beat you want? I promise, it's always been that. I can make a lot of beats that I feel like, man, it's the hardest beat I never made in my life. And they'll skip right past it, and I'll give me something else.
You be in the back like, damn, you wasn't feeling
And the beat that you was gonna throw in the trash is the one like, ooh, play that one, I need that. It's like, that's the, all right, you know. So I learned to not throw away no beats. I learned to, like, if I'm not feeling it while I'm making beats, that's a good time to make beats. Cause them might be the beats that people really want, so.
Clearly so.
Nah, for real.
It's so cold up here.
It is?
It's so
Sorry,
cold.
y'all.
I'm from Canada too, it's brick up here. I can't even think right now. I don't know, honestly.
The question was, has there ever been a beat that you made that maybe you weren't excited about, but the artist was like, oh shit, this shit is fire?
Probably.
I need more than that, bro. Come on, dog.
Because I don't know, like most of my placements, honestly, most of my big songs, like I knew the beat would be something. I'm not gonna lie. Like most beats, like Butterfly Effect, when I made that beat, I'm like, yo, this shit's out of here. Like when I was with Drake and we made Nice for What, like we knew this was very special. Like when I made Motorsport, like I knew it was like a special beat. When I made the Fifi beat, I knew it was a special beat. So, probably.
So you just got the foreshadowing. You already know your shit's gonna be a hit.
I don't know. You just manifest it, right?
Fire. Hitmaka, how about you?
What was the question again? I got lost.
Oh man, y'all not even paying attention. Is it that cold? You the only one with a coat. That's why you have to play. You're prepared.
Yeah, for sure.
The question was, has there ever been a beat that you made that maybe you weren't so excited about, but an artist was like, yo, that's the one?
Nah, I'm kind of in the same boat with Murda. Like when people come see me, it's not really for like beats. When people come work with me in the studio, it's not like, hey, play me a bunch of beats. It's like, play me songs or play me ideas with hooks already on it. So every song that you've pretty much heard that I've ever been involved with was a song that was a demo that was created prior with me and my team of songwriters, whether it be Chris Sean, Jazzy, Ant Clemens, Eric Billinger, Drew Love, like we all, Rocky, we all create these songs together in the studio. Like 2 Chainz featuring Ariana Grande it was my artist singing a song, and I went and seen 2 Chainz and he took my song from me. And you know, that's big bro, so he had a song.
I feel like at this point in hip hop culture, we're seeing a shift, right? Where artists aren't the only stars per se. You guys are all famous in your own right. Now you guys are even getting featured on tracks. It's a new era. Murda, I feel like you're the best to speak on this. Can you kind of talk to me about how producers aren't just behind the scenes anymore?
Yeah, like there just comes like a point in time where like you want to differentiate yourself from everybody else and you want to build a brand. And to do that, you know, it just takes just getting in front of the people, you know what I'm saying? You gotta perform, DJ, do all that stuff. And it's like when you build such a big brand, people wanna see that, like, you know what I'm saying? People wanna be like, yo, I wanna see Hitmaka live, how do I do that? You know what I'm saying? What's he gonna do? He's not gonna rap all his songs or some shit, he's gonna have to DJ, do something, you know what I'm saying? If you go see Zay, at least he can take you to church or some shit, you know, but yeah, pretty much.
Zaytoven, is it important to not just be a producer that's behind the scenes, but also be in the scene?
Nowadays, you have to. Like, I was always a reserved person. I always got into music to be behind the scenes. That's what I wanted to do. You know, it's like, I feel like Gucci Mane is a star. Let's make him a star. Let me be behind the scenes just bagging him up. But, you know, if you want to continue to be relevant, if you want to continue to, you know, stay popping, I had to learn, like, okay, now you got to come out, you got to do interviews, you got to show up to the clubs, you got to, you know what I mean, you got to put on the mink coat with the jury, you know what I mean, if you want to make some more money in this game, you know, a different type of money. So it was like maybe 2 years ago I had to start DJing, just because that's what all the young producers doing now. So it's like, and I kept saying, like, I ain't gonna be no DJ, that ain't what I do, I'm a producer. But then when they started saying, well, this is how much we're gonna pay you to do it, I said, well, no, let me, you know, I think I do need a DJ. Yeah, so, you know, and that's what you got to do nowadays. So I do what it takes.
CC, how about you? You seem more reserved. You said you've never done a video interview before. Is fame something, aside from modeling, fame in the music industry, something that you want? Do you care to be in the limelight?
I mean, no. But as what I've seen, you do have to be, like, well, I think I don't like all that attention stuff, like public in, you know, the interviews. That's not me. So, but what I've seen is, you know, being at this event is what made me where I'm at, you know? Like, I feel like if I wasn't at that event, then I wouldn't have been as inspired as I could have been, you know? So, yeah, I think both are important. I think you should be reserved to, you know, a certain extent, in my opinion. But, yeah, I feel like it's a balance of both. I feel like you do need both. Just the right things, you know? Be at the right events.
Hitmaka, for the aspiring producers out there, is it important for them to kind of focus on being behind the scenes or building a brand for themselves?
For me personally, I kind of been seeing it from both sides of the fence. Like, I've been an artist that's had successful records, and now, like, with me being an executive, like, I think that it's important for people to be in the forefront, but you don't have to do everything exactly the same way that Murda Beatz did it, or Zaytoven is talking about do it. Let's inspire other people, like for the producer to be the biggest manager in the whole business, where it's like they breaking the artist or whatever, or you working behind the scenes like me, where I'm the vice president of Atlantic, where I can get artist song deals, or I can help somebody sell a beat, or I can help somebody be in position. I think it's more than one way to skin the cat with this situation, but you definitely have to be in the forefront of your business and not personally waiting for somebody to just solidify, answer a question for you.
Yes. Tainy, do you care to have that fame, that notoriety of everyone knowing who made the beat, knowing that it was you, or would you prefer to play behind the scenes?
Man, I always wanted to be behind the scenes. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. I feel like most of us producers like really like go into it just like because it's fun. We want to do music. We don't really want to have like that face out there, but at the same time, we just like want to be the best at what we're doing. And you know, artists nowadays and how the music is, you have more ways of just like going, not just being a producer. You can have like albums and just creating, have all these artists that you've been working with and come with you and just like get your vision out there and explore your sound. And some of us can like be DJs also and have like be on stage and create a brand, and now you can make the most out of that span of time where, you know, music has its highs and it has its lows, and whenever it's at its highs, you got to make the most out of it. And I think there's a lot of ways that we can do that right now, and I think we're all making the most out of that right now.
Aside from just placements, and Zay, we'll start with you, was there a moment where you felt like people around you started to understand that you were going to be successful in this? Maybe someone in your family had heard a beat of yours on the radio, or was there a moment where that kind of shifted?
I would say my mom always, you know, she always believed in me making it. Now, I went through a long period of time where, you know, my dad was in the military, so he real militant. So I had my studio in his basement, in my mom and dad's basement. I remember my pops coming down there like, hey man, this ain't no studio. I'd throw this equipment out the window. Like, you know, this ain't what it is. It wasn't until I made my first big song, So Icy, and that was my first time making $25,000 at one time. So I came home and I brought them, it was cash money. I brought the money home. I gave my mom $5,000, I gave him that $5,000. By the next week, he was bringing snacks down in the basement. Like, yeah, y'all don't need no, you know, you want me to run to the stove, you know? So, but I didn't see that either though. I didn't get into music to be a successful producer. I was doing it because it was just fun to do. You know, I go cut hair at the barbershop, I go play music at the church. You know, that's what I did. I didn't do music to try to blow up. But you know, when I first had my big song, I had that first money. That's why you got to make sure you take care of your people that's around, because you know they'll believe in you more and push you more, so you can get further.
For sure. Murda Beatz, do you remember the first dollar you ever made off this music stuff?
Yeah, it was probably just selling a beat off YouTube. That was like the first grind. Like I would just post beats on YouTube, sell beats, go to Western Union, get my check, and like do PayPal. Like I was selling so many beats at one point that like my Western Union was flagged for like fraud. So like that's like kind of like, that was like 6 years ago. That's when like I stopped. I was gonna go on SoundClick and start selling beats, and I was like, I don't want to be a SoundClick producer. I didn't want to take that lane. You know, that's even before there was really a real lane. I just didn't want to do that. So I just stopped selling beats because I wanted my worth to be high. You got to know your worth at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So I just stopped selling beats, came to LA, did the little Atlanta trips, and then everything started happening for me, you know?
Hitmaka, do you remember the first dollar you ever made off of producing a beat?
No.
Why? Has it been so many dollars or so many checks?
It's been a cool couple years, bro. It's been a hate, you know what I'm saying? But the first dollar that I probably made was probably, I don't know, just as a kid, like, you know what I'm saying, a younger, like I'm 33, so I'm older than Murda or whatever, so it wasn't no SoundClick or like YouTube or nothing, no PayPal for me to get it, so it probably was just like hand-to-hand type of vibes.
For sure. Tainy, how about you?
Yeah, I think the first time I ever saw money from music was when I got signed to Looney Tunes, and bro, I felt like a millionaire. I used to have like $2 to go to school and just spend like the whole day, and I remember they gave me 2 G's, and I feel like, yo, I made it. I'm a millionaire right now. I didn't have a cell phone. That's the only thing that I bought, because the rest I gave to my mom. But yeah, man, like I remember it like today, bro. It felt amazing.
Sure. CC, how about you?
It was pretty recent, you know, like maybe a couple months ago. It was a while that I didn't really see no money. Maybe like when it came out June, I probably saw some money 2 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
It takes a while to like see residuals from
yeah.
songs. Like you do not get paid the first 6 months. That check might hit a year, you know what I'm saying?
Can you walk
the
us through
artist
it,
might
though?
not sign the contract. You might not get the front end for like a year and a half. Like,
So after you make a beat and deliver it to an artist, it may take a year and a half for you to even see a single cent.
well, rappers show up late to interviews, so like the way they're gonna sign a contract, it might take a long time.
Facts.
For sure. Hitmaka, can you kind of walk us through how one even begins? So after you make a beat, what's next?
Well, for me, probably the next step is for me to go and do the song and dance for whatever artist or whatever and sell them on the record and make sure they want to love it and cut it. They end up cutting the record, and then depends on what label they're at. I have a lot of different relationships there. Then I'm able to like sell the record. Now, there's various different ways of doing this, because there's a bunch of songs right now that like I've given to people for free. Like, yo, like, you're just my friend, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want the relationship more than the money. And there's certain songs that I done charged $120,000 for. Like, yo, like, I'm straight. Like, I don't know, I just want the bag. So for me, like, it's just more so important about staying true to what you really believed in, what the song is. Because the most frustrating thing as a producer, if you really don't, like, and this is for like when people really starting out, because I didn't have like control of these songs. So like, you sell a record, you deliver the file, you don't get paid, somebody you don't know mixed the song come out, the song is a totally different song than when you thought you gave it to the artist or whatever. So I think that once you really get your feet wet and you get like to leverage to where you want to be, you have to be involved with the song from point A to point Z, and that's what really brings you happiness. Well, it brings me happiness because I know that initially the idea that we started with from the demo is what the world is receiving right now on the radio and what's charting.
Zaytoven, how often are you cooking up with an artist versus just making beats by yourself?
90% of the time I'm with the artist. Like I make beats by myself all the time, but when I get in the studio with the artist, I want to create again. So, you know, a lot of times I don't just create a song, I create a project, you know. We'll sit there and do 20 songs back to back. And I don't know which song gonna be a hit, I don't know which song is gonna make it on the project, but I just like, I like to sit there and create with the artist. So I do that most of the time.
CC, do you normally make beats by yourself, or are you most times making beats with artists? What's it like?
I make beats by myself. That's just because, for now, I'm confident in my sound. I'm just not like too confident like for it to be a hit. So, I'll send out beats that I do, and then, or if I have another beat that I feel like could be better, I'll send it to somebody. And like, I'm friends with like different producers. So like, mainly I work with like Boy Wonder or London on the Track. I'll just send them ideas and then they'll finish it up for me. So, and then I'll go send it out, or they'll send it out for me. So,
Murda Beatz, how about you? How often are you working with artists versus just working by yourself?
In the beginning, it's like you only making beats by yourself. You never work with the artist. But then like, as you go through the stages of just becoming a producer and not a beat maker, you know what I'm saying? You start to get in front of it and produce with the artist in the room, make beats with the artist in the room. So now it's like, probably like 70-30.
What's the difference, or in your opinion, what's the difference between a beat maker and a producer?
A beat maker is gonna make a bunch of beats.
And a producer?
A producer is gonna make beats with the artist, maybe say this is what the song should be about. Oh, you're gonna like, if you don't like a line, you'll redo that, you know what I'm saying? Put your input on the record.
And when do you feel like you made that shift from beat maker to producer?
Probably like the last like couple years. I'd say like 2016.
Oh, so recent, okay. Tainy, how about you? How often are you working with artists versus just cooking it by yourself?
I think kind of the same thing. Like at the beginning, I'm just like making beats like crazy every day. I'll make like 10 beats a day. Just like going crazy, going at it because you have that adrenaline. But nowadays, it gets a little bit more hectic. Like sometimes this artist is starting to work on his album, so you gotta like stop everything else, fly somewhere, and just sit down and create with him. Like get to know what his ideas are, and just like create from people that you want to work with. You're being like a little bit more selective sometimes. I really want to work on these projects, and so you focus on those things. So I think it's more nowadays that I'm with the artists in the studio and trying to like figure out what they want and trying to show them what I'm into right now, than just like sitting down and going crazy doing beats. Because sometimes, right now we don't really have that much time as like in the beginning.
CC, do you feel like it's difficult being a woman in hip hop?
Since it's kind of new, not really. Everybody's kind of just so nice to me, like they want to like work with me. But sometimes, yeah, I do see like some people acting funny, or they think that they could talk to me a certain way. But I know how to channel all that out, and I know how to handle it as well. So it's kind of, I don't mind. Like it's nothing that's damaging me or anything like that. So I think it's kind of easy for the most part. Like I said, everyone's pretty nice. So.
What is each of your advice to the people in here who maybe want to be sitting in the seat, want to make music, want to take their craft to the next level? I guess Hitmaka, we'll start with you.
Personally, just always keep your faith in God and keep your foot on the gas. Like, I go to the studio every day, like literally, like all the traveling that you see, like everybody that I know that's on the stage or whatever, we always cooking up on a daily basis and going and really perfecting our craft. So I think that if you don't stay in the gym and you don't keep shooting, you're gonna miss a lot of shots. And you always gotta really figure out that it's not about what's gonna happen in the short-term process, but what's really gonna happen long-term when you actually look back at all the work that you put in. What did it mean? What did it mean for yourself? Did you give up on yourself? And that's something you should never do. So stay focused and fuck everybody.
Tainy, how about you? What would be your advice for those who want to be like you?
I'm guessing just like, there's a lot of opportunities out there. I think even more than probably like when we started. Sometimes I feel like that. But it's just being like staying true to yourself and just like putting your heart in it. Sometimes when you get comfortable and you think like the things are gonna come to you and because you have something that you feel is good, you gotta keep pushing and just like going at it and just like go create your sound. Like that's what's gonna make the difference between everything that's out there and who you are. Because sometimes, you know, you tend to go to whatever like everybody's listening to right now, and that's cool, but you need to like put your stamp and show who you are, and that's gonna set you aside from everything else and just gonna like build a career for you. So just like put your heart in it and yeah, how you said, bro, like God's gonna give you the opportunities to make it happen. So just go hard.
CC, how about you?
You know, I'm here to inspire everybody, mainly the ladies though. So, you know, my best advice is like, come up with a game plan and just stay true to your game plan. You know, focus on every step, take it serious. You know, you gotta really have a feeling like you really die for it, like for it to actually happen. Like you gotta stay focused every day, every minute. You gotta, you know, think about everything for real.
Zaytoven, how about you?
I always try to tell up-and-coming producers to try to be unique, try to be special, try to be set apart. What helped me be unique is find an artist that you believe in. That's what helped create a sound. My sound is what it is because I sat in the studio with Gucci Mane every day, and you know we created something together. So that'd be my advice for a lot of producers: find you an artist that you believe in. Y'all create chemistry, you know.
For sure, Murda Beatz, how about you?
Just dedication. My bad. Just dedication, sacrifice. You gotta sacrifice a lot, and just like anybody hating on you when you start to do anything, not just music, just like take that hate and just add that to the fire and let that be the fuel. You know what I'm saying? That's just like everything. Like, cause like when I started, everyone was just hating, like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, and I just sat down, used the dedication, sacrificed a lot, and just like stuck to my guns and what I wanted to do. You know.
Thank you everyone for coming to How to Make a Modern Day Rap Hit with Hitmaka, Tainy, Lil CC, Zaytoven, and Murda Beatz. Give it up for all of these beautiful panelists. Thank you. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Oh, bro.